Hi, it's Erin and Simon with Assets and Arbitrage here on a Saturday, which I know is a bit different. Just for now, while we're on the mend, our shows will be a little bit more, unfortunately, unpredictable. We'll try to bring you a show when we can, and on days that we can't, we apologize.
Yeah, we're busy bees. Kids are in sports. Our eldest son is working as a professor at the university, professor of English,
Mhm.
but he does not have a car yet. So we're taking him to work. We still take him to work though, and so take him to work, pick him up, and we just couple
And we're still on the mend.
couple soccer moms
We're still
driving
on the
everybody
mend.
around.
We're still healing.
Yeah.
So,
So yeah, I'm feeling better. Lot better, but I still got a little bit to go. But like I said, we like try to bring you a show, and in my opinion, if I can, I'll try to bring you a show like this that is what I call like a week ending show, and we could talk about the things that happened over the week, and and just see how the week went Monday through Friday as far as the markets. And as far as Bitcoin, stay stacking, stay stacking, stay stacking. Bitcoin, stay stacking your ounces, gold and silver. So we could talk about the things that happen, why they happen, because there's things going on in the background that are making these prices move the way that they move. And we have to talk about that. And that's what out, to the late people, what are people doing? What are institutions doing? And to have these prices move one way or the other, as a lot of people kind of sit and wait, not knowing what's really going on in the background. And, that could be, uh, what could you say? It nerve wracking, right?
mhm.
So when you kind of understand who's making moves in the background, and then you see certain things happen, you're a little more calm when you see like maybe something go down, and you're like, all right, we know what that is. When you double check something else, and you, you just roll with it. You just roll with it. That's why we say have a low time preference, so that uh, all the stuff that happens in the short term doesn't, like I said, rack your nerves. So you want to talk about that? We got some good news, good looking news, and we're gonna go into some things about the big institutions making their moves. So, what would you think? I was gonna wait for some people to hop in the room before I started going
It's
in.
on the day they don't know that we're going to be on.
I know, but that's I was gonna give it a little chance. I mean, um, well, we can jump right in then.
Yeah, I would.
All right.
It went from 4 to 2. So,
All right. Well, it is Saturday afternoon. People are.
it's still summer in the United States.
Yeah,
It's
it's
real
not.
dreary
It's
here
it's
because we're in rainy
it's
season
rainy season. It's almost like a winter. Every day it rains about hmm, 5 o'clock. You say
mhm,
6 o'clock,
between 3 and 5.
and it's a torrential downpour, and it's very messy. In one, so and it's cold. It's a cold rain. And when we say cold, I guess it's literal. I mean, it might be in the 50s or something, but it's cold. You got this hoodie season. You got to have your hoodie
Mhm.
on. Your jacket. Little kids got to have jackets. So when I sometimes when I scroll through social media and I see people doing summertime things, I forget.
Mhm.
When I go out, we get up early in the morning. You have a lot of fog and all that stuff. It's cold and it's like drizzle. And it's hard, hard to drive, hard to see. And I see people like they're going on cruises, and I'm like, man, I forgot about that.
Mhm.
we're not seeing that kind of weather today.
Mm-mm.
So we kind of have the opposite season you guys have
In a sense,
in
in the
the
United
sense
States.
like January's kind of warm, right?
Mhm.
Summertime, people can go swimming if they like, or play outside, go to the little fairs they have. Go to the water park. There's a water park down the street, about 20 minutes.
Unless your government turns on the heart machine, and then it's cold for us too when they have that machine running.
Hmm. So let's get to it, y'all. Let's get to it. So the show is called The Bitcoin Wall. So I don't know how many people out there have seen this, but
I'll pull it up. Hi, cousin Will. Thank you so much for
hey,
joining.
what's up? What's up, sir? Thank you for joining. We always appreciate cousin Will. So the it's called the Bitcoin Wall, and so what happened is,
Black Rock.
yeah, we have this is coming from decrypto dot backslash 243757. I'm not sure of the this. I'm not sure of them. I don't see them much. It's not like a CNBC or something like that. Uh, so we'll roll with it though.
They
We'll roll
hold the
with it.
line. What?
Uh, yeah, it's crazy. We're gonna pull it up, see if we can share our screen, and maybe we'll have my beautiful wife read it, and then I can go in a little deeper
Okay.
and talk about it.
So it says BlackRock Bitcoin ETF investors hold the line as markets rebound. As the crypto market quaked this week, investors in BlackRock's spot Bitcoin ETF held firm with inflows of 52.5 million on Wednesday. As Bitcoin briefly plunged below 50,000 on Monday, investors in BlackRock's spot Bitcoin ETF were among some of the most steadfast investors in the market. Despite the price falling 10% in the past week, investors in BlackRock's $19 billion product haven't flinched so far. Well, those are diamond hands, huh? Huh.
Yeah.
While some spot Bitcoin ETFs have seen millions of dollars in outflows over the past few days, the iShares Bitcoin Trust has held the line.
Okay, so we can talk about this real quick. So basically, what they're saying there is um, BlackRock kept the price from staying down there. Now we talked to you on Monday, when quote unquote Black Monday was happening.
Mm-hmm.
We went live and we talked about this. And Bitcoin at that point had gone below 50,000. And we said that we're not financial advisors, but this may be a good time if you have some dry powder to scoop up some Bitcoin.
Right.
And you see that you got a 20% increase
Mm-hmm.
from right around 49,000 to right now a little 61 or 60,
Mm-hmm.
60.9. And so BlackRock, as they said, held the line. So here's the thing: when you look at Bitcoin's, what's the word I'm calling? I can't stop. Sorry, I've been up since early. I'm tired. If you look at Bitcoin's value, right,
Mm-hmm.
you see a certain number, but a lot of Bitcoin is held like right in wallets, and
Mm-hmm.
it's not on exchanges,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not being traded. So with that Bitcoin kind of not in play, you have people who have large capital, such as BlackRock, I believe the largest investment firm in the United States, can force a lot of capital into the market and move the price line. So they didn't let it drop. There was some, if you looked at some of the charts, there was some lines that needed to be held once it dropped below 50,000. And it seems, people say it go all the way down to 24,000, something crazy like that. And there were lines that needed to be held. So it was at a line that needed to be held. BlackRock spot ETF popped in with large capital and held that line. Not only did it hold the line, it pushed it back up 20% in 1 week. In the week that we had so-called Black Monday,
Mm-hmm.
Bitcoin bounced up 20% after a dramatic fall of 10%. So that's the volatility that you will see. But it's smaller. It's not like it used to be. It's because you have large players like BlackRock in heavily invested. So they will be, I mean, they got skin in the game. So they're not gonna just let the price, plummet.
Tank.
Yeah, so they're big players. So um and follow the money. Follow the money. If BlackRock, who has the most funds under management in the United States, is making moves like this with Bitcoin, follow the money. It's a no-brainer. At this point, it's a no-brainer. You don't even have to know how to read charts, no candlesticks, all this stuff. If you just follow the money and you have somewhat of a low time preference, you don't have to wait 10 years. You got some people like Max Kaiser who says never sell your Bitcoin. But other people gonna sell the Bitcoin. They need it for something. They want to put it somewhere else. However you get down. And so this was really, in my opinion, a good week. I'm with you there. When Bitcoin dropped 10% and it lost 50,000, you know, I'm not gonna lie, a little worry came across me. I said, "Oh, we lost 50,000."
Especially because we peeled off so much.
Yeah, I had and peeled off so much. And thank goodness we peeled off at a good number. But when we lost 50,000, I thought about it like, man.
Because we're just now
I said that ain't.
adding those back.
I said that's not great that we lost 50,000 because that's hard resistance. Those numbers like that, round numbers, are hard resistance. 50,000 at one time. I'm sorry, 50,000 is hard support, right? I'm sorry, I said it wrong. So it's going down. It's hard support. And at one time, it was hard resistance. Bang, bang, bang. You kept hitting 50,000, getting rejected, going all the way back to 30s. You guys remember them days. And like, man, if we could just get through 50,000. And it took a while. And then you popped through 50, and then 50 became hard support. And, so when it was dropping, 50 was supposed to catch it. Bang, 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 and lost it. So that could be, you'd be like, oh, man. So these other, and the reason that is concerning is because there's other support levels under the 50,000 level, but they're not as strong. So if the strong 50,000 lost support, what are these other weaker supports going to do? So, but they did it. BlackRock popped in. People say, is that market manipulation? No. I mean, they got the capital to do it. They didn't do anything wrong. They just, they kind of pushed the market in a direction that the market is already going, number one, and in a direction that they wanted it to go. So BlackRock right now, heavily invested, is your friend. So look at BlackRock as a friend, even though they're doing some shady stuff. On the other hand, with the housing market, you guys chime in about that. I've just read a little bit, but I understand what they're doing.
In this particular case, they share your interests.
Yeah, so we're buddies. If they're making moves, I like it. Larry Fink, thank you, CEO. Thank you for going that. So Bitcoin has popped back up to 61,000. Everybody should be happy. Everybody who was able to catch that bounce. Can we look at the bounce? I just want to look at the bounce, and we could see. Yeah, so we got here. Thank you very much. So let's see. Let's look at these charts. Look at that bounce right there. So bang, it's down low. It's down low. I wish I had a 7-day chart. 1-month chart looks crazy because it doesn't really tell the whole story. I will use the 5-day. It's good enough. We were down here. You see, it touched down, and it should really go down lower than 54,000, but it touched low like that. Bang, we're down. So we're looking like, oh man, feeling bad looking at our accounts. But we had diamond hands, like she said earlier, and we watch it, we fight, it dips again. Nice spike back up. So we watch it hop. It dips one more time, and then you see the spike walking out. Bang. And then another spike, bang. And another spike, bang. and I can't call it. You guys fact check me, but let me see. Let me look a little tighter. I bet maybe on a pie chart these are would be pennants. I think if you drew if you drew it out, I could go to tradingview.com and look at it better. But those look like they could have been bull flags, just popping. And then once you get a bull flag, you catch another one on top of another one. So we got that nice pop back up to 60,000. And now, so now the drive is back to 70. We got to get back to 70.
This is it.
Yeah, it is. Thank you.
What am I looking at?
I was just going to look at a Bitcoin chart, and it might have been a bar chart,
But
not a
where
bar
would I
chart,
go?
candlestick chart. But let me see. That's why I didn't want to come over here sometimes.
The UI looks different.
Yeah, it's different now because I use it on my phone products. I just wanted to see a chart. I used to just be able to pop up a chart.
We'll go up at the top. I think the charts is
So,
chart.
so yeah, they look like right there. They could have been bull flags.
And then how do I get the Bitcoin chart?
Mm-hmm. That's the question. Yeah, you got line charts over here. I wanted a candlestick chart. That's Tesla.
But it doesn't let me
Yeah, you
like I
might.
don't have like a search or anything.
Let me see. Right there it says search. This is an Apple chart. Sorry, guys. Give us one moment. I haven't been on here in a good little minute.
And I'm not signed in either. So I'm trying to figure out where the search bar is. There we go. So Bitcoin, BTC, Aaron, BTC. Come on now. Which one? Grayscale?
No, I just want Bitcoin, but they had a lot of other stuff. Let me see. This index.
Bitcoin US dollar?
Yep, that should be the first one.
All right, y'all. I'm sorry. The UI is different.
Yeah, yes, it is. I haven't been on here in a while, guys. You might use it every day, and like, come on, dummy. But sorry about that. We got that. We got through it. Okay. Yeah, boom, boom, boom. Right here looks like a huge bull flag, and that is no. In August because you have this. So let's move the chart to 5 day. It's a little tighter, but yeah. So if you draw this out, boom, boom, that looks like a bull flag to me. This definitely looks like a bull flag, right? You draw this out, bam, bam. You got the tight squeeze right here, the wedge where you know it has to make a move, right? When you see that sideways movement and you have your charts and you see it coming into a wedge, you know that it has to move up or down. It can't just trade sideways forever, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you see this tight trading right here, it was some tight trading for maybe, I don't know, a few hours, it looks like. Man, if I'm looking at this right, some tight trading, and then you seeing the pop all the way here. And then it was some tight trading again, and you seeing boom, another pop. And so this one is going out, and I'm seeing a little bit of tight trading. So hey, we might be seeing another pop. 65 is a round number, and 70 is what we're looking for. The fight for 70, right? If guy's been around long enough, just like I was just talking about 50, the fight for 50 was real. You get rejected, boom, you go up, you get rejected, you go up, you get rejected. And it's frustrating. It's frustrating, but it is part of the pattern
Mm-hmm.
that plays out. So 70, like we've been rejected a few times at 70, been up there, got up to 73? I think we got to 73 somewhere area up there and rejected back down into the 60s. A lot of people say 70 is the boom. You blast through 70, you blow through 80. That's what a lot of the, our big time analysts are saying that,
Mhm.
70 is really what's holding it back from almost going to 100,000. So we will see about that. That would be lovely. That would be lovely. 100,000 being the most round number in Bitcoin history so far,
Mhm.
thus far. Uh, it's going to give you some heavy rejections probably, and but you never know. Bitcoin does its own thing. It might blow through 100,000 like it wasn't even there, and keep going. Do you remember how Bitcoin when we were at the fight for 20,000 and we kept getting rejected, bang, 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 getting rejected hard back down, like, all the way to 15. You remember them days? And it finally broke through 20,000.
Mhm.
And then this is around Christmas. I remember this because Bitcoin was $25,000 on Christmas Day. I
Mhm.
made a joke about it. But Bitcoin blew through 30,000. There was, which is a round number, there was no
Mhm.
fight at 30,000. It just blew through. And that's why when we started like, oh, we didn't know what was gonna happen. I think it blew through 40. No, I can't. Did it block the 40? I can't remember now. I remember distinctly it blew through 30 like it wasn't there. So it does have the ability to just blow through like nothing's there.
Mhm.
And that's what we're looking for. We're looking for it to blow through like nothing's there. But the fight is gonna be at 70. So we're at 61, which is good on a Saturday. And hope everybody is happy, with their Bitcoin holdings.
Mhm.
It's a journey. It's a journey. Like I said, I've been here a long time. So, we could tell the stories of the back when, man, I remember back when it was fighting at 5,000.
Mhm.
5,000 was a ceiling, a hard ceiling. And, he was fighting. Definitely 10,000 was crazy. 10,000 was crazy to getting rejections back down to 7,500, which is huge. That's a huge rejection back down. And, I would get frustrated, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, dang, we just got to get through 10. Just got to get through 10. So that's when you were still working at Kempton. I remember them days because I used to send you charts from Robinhood.
Mhm.
I used to, hey man, I like Robinhood's charts, man. They're real simple. The user interface is easy. Robinhood has its utility.
Utility.
Yes, it does. So we can't make fun of Robinhood too much. I got it. I don't use it as much as I used to, but they do have cool charts. Back then, I don't know if they've changed things, but it has its utility, y'all. So don't bang on Robinhood too hard.
Mhm.
But you were still working at Campus. My wife used to work at a wealth management firm down in
Mhm.
Mexico City, and so she was managing wealth, or she been talking the wealth game for a minute, and we that's our pillow talk.
Mhm.
Sometimes, a lot of times, we just talk about, oh man, we seen this, we seen that, or what we're thinking about doing
Mhm.
as a family, as
Mhm.
a group,
Mhm.
because we have our son who now has a job and he's being paid. So we talked to him about wealth, about moving his money from here to there, and yeah.
And y'all would be shocked at how much information he has absorbed, retained, implements. So it's important that you talk to the children within your influence, right? Even if you're single, you don't have children, but maybe you have your nieces and nephews or your godchildren or your little cousins or the neighbor's kids or whoever. Children pick up a lot. They typically emulate. When we talk about money, and this is for the nation builders, this is a note for the nation builders. Sometimes children don't necessarily listen to what you say as much as they watch how you act. So your responses to what are you trying to do?
Oh no, sometimes I pop up and you get some hidden chat. Remember last time I had to do that?
Yeah, it was acting up, but it's fine today.
Is it okay? Chat
Um,
room. Come on, chat room. Get involved.
yeah, it's only 6 people watching, and
Uh,
it hurts that we don't have the Twitters.
Uh,
So nation builders, like I said, it's not necessarily what you say sometimes, but how you react and how you respond to situations concerning financial things. If you are a saver, you know, your children pick those things up and they emulate that behavior. If you are a petulant spender,
hmm.
children pick up on that and they do the same. If you lack value for things, what's wrong?
I was just getting tighter in the
I'm
screen.
not an petulant spender.
I'll just play. I'll
Um,
just play.
if you um, if you place stress on investing like we do, the children are listening, they're watching. Now that Sean has a job, first thing he did was he went to his dad about getting his own sun exchange solar panels.
Yeah.
And how do I put, you know, can I give you money? And because he gets paid in pesos, right? He doesn't have access to dollars. So he has to utilize us as his, I don't even know what to call it,
No, we're like his
his
broke.
Casa de yeah, like his
We're
broker.
his broker.
So I'm going to give you this money, and you know I want to get invested. Obviously, he's invested in Bitcoin. He's got his Sun Exchange
Yeah,
stuff. He's
we
and we don't
Aaron.
even ask him. We don't approach him.
No,
I don't know what days he gets paid and stuff.
we Aaron. We give him exchange. We exchange dollars with him
Mm-hmm.
for free because otherwise he had to go to exchange his dollars and pay a premium,
Mm-hmm.
and that gets expensive.
Yeah, it does.
And so he has the luxury of not having to pay the premium when he exchanges his peso for the dollar,
Mm-hmm.
and so he gets a 1-to-1 trade off.
But you know, at the end of the day, the story is that this 23-year-old has the mindset financially of mid 40-year-olds, right? Because that's what we do. That's what he's been hearing
Yep,
basically his whole life. So it's almost natural to him
it's natural to him, and it's what else is crazy is because um, he's doing it without
without having a prod or
but without the need, like in his mind, he's not thinking about retirement. So he doesn't really do it like, man, I gotta put this away for my
yeah, he's not.
retirement.
I think he does it because he's
Yeah,
like, oh, that's just the
yeah,
natural thing to do is
because
to invest your
he
money.
doesn't have a wife and kids, so it's not like I'm putting away for my family. It's just him,
We made a
and
little old
so
man.
he just puts away without needing to be pushed. Like because once you get a family or something, there's a let me put something away for my
There's a
family,
little bit more
and
incentive
then
to do
and
things.
once you start getting older, you're like start looking at your retirement accounts and figuring out when you get the heck up out of here.
Hmm.
And
But for
so
him, it's just the natural way to do
yeah.
things. And that's why I said it's important that for the nation builders, sometimes they're not listening to what you're saying to them. They're not listening to what you're telling them to do. They're watching what you're doing, right? So
Mm-hmm.
long gone are the days as do as I say, not as I do.
Mm.
And like we said, I mean, we're making a joke about it that he's got the mindset of a mid 40-year-old, but that's because he lives with mid 40-year-olds and that's what they do every day.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't have a wife, he doesn't have children. He doesn't really have a sense to fathom retirement in a sense, but to him, the natural thing I do with my money is I pay myself first. And then I put some money to save in my coffer here at home in case I want to get a pair of sneakers or if I want to buy a computer or a new iPhone or something like that.
Yeah.
And then he'll spend his money on this, that, and the third. And again, it's just your influence. Influence is a big thing. You can see when you talk about follow the money, corporations spend probably now trillions of dollars in influence. That's what
Mm.
marketing ads are for. That's what platforms are for. That's what the celebrities.
Yeah.
You want to know why Sexy Red is a thing? It's because they feel, the elite feel, that she has an influence over a community, and this is the way they want this particular community influence. And they pay big dollars for it.
Sure do.
So if they're willing to pay big dollars for it, you have to understand that there is a science to that magic of influence. So as the nation builders, right? The way you operate in life, when we look at people who have money blocks, when they have spending issues, they don't know how to manage a budget. What are some of the other issues that people have as adults? They're learning shit on the fly.
Yeah.
That's what they saw, and that is what they're replicating.
Yeah, a thing that I hear a lot is they didn't teach us this in high school.
And the
And
idea is like, well, your mama didn't teach you that at home either.
I think that's exactly
That's
where I
where
was
it should
going.
start, right? And
Yeah,
I'm talking to the nation builders.
yeah.
Y'all send me an email. I don't care.
So because and that's funny to me because I'm like, high school didn't teach you, but what about your parents? What about
Right.
your mother, your father, whoever ran the budget?
Right.
That's where you get that understanding. People, um, uh, so friends of mine, when I first joined the military, don't know how to balance the
They
checkbook.
didn't know how to
What
balance the
this is
checkbook.
back. I'm an old head, so
The 90s.
yeah.
This is
So
the 1900s for
I
all my
know,
youngins.
I know. Yeah, I'm an old head. Sorry, y'all. So when you got your checking account, you got a checkbook. In the back was a ledger, right?
What's your ledger?
And
Your register.
you supposed to put everything
There
in
was no
there.
such thing as that banking statement. Now they had them, but you had to keep up with that every
Yeah.
single day, all day
And then
long, or
people
else you're gonna bounce your checks.
and people didn't know how to use them, and they, I had to show a few of my friends like this is how you use it. This is what it's for.
So
And
you're not out here bouncing checks and the FBI looking for you.
yeah, because that's back when you writing checks. You would go
To the
uh,
supermarket. Everybody writing
supermarket.
it. All the white women writing the checks
Yeah,
in the
but
aisle.
yeah, you go to the supermarket, and you write a check for about $100 for all your groceries, and this is before they were checking. Remember, you could see if check with cash right now in
Mm-hmm.
that machine.
They would put it in that little round thing. It'd be
Yeah,
like, zzzz,
even
and the
before.
check would bounce right there at the
Yeah,
register.
yeah. This is before then. So you would get your $100 worth of groceries and take it home.
And then it'll bounce. This is before that, but then
Yeah.
the retailers got hip to it. They got this
Yeah,
special.
cash was floating checks. You remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
To be
y'all
able
was
to
check
float a check
floaters.
till you got paid
Yeah,
2-3 days from now.
yeah. So cash was floating checks. Checks was looking back on it. Checks were crazy. Checks were
You could
crazy.
forge them. If y'all ever watch Catch Me If You Can, that movie's probably like science fiction to somebody who was born after 2000.
Yeah, yeah,
Right? You're
yeah.
watching the movie and you don't even understand what he's doing, but life was like that at one point
Yeah.
where he was cold with the forging of the checks. He got whatever he wanted, went wherever he wanted to go, and stuff like that. And it took so long for the feds to kind of keep up and pick up on what was going on.
Yeah, because
They just didn't have the technology in those days
you
to
didn't have
pick
the
up on those
technology, and
things.
when you're dealing with checks, it's not in real time.
Mm-hmm.
So if he bounced a check and you don't even
They didn't
get
have
knowledge to
watermarks
it
yet. They
until
didn't have this.
till
They
like
didn't have
5 days later, he's already made his move.
He gone.
You know what I'm saying? You 5 days behind him. You 5 steps behind him.
You might be week behind them. You might be weeks behind them.
Yeah, so
and he's already on to the newest way that he can forge this thing in order to get to where he needs to go. It's called Catch Me If You Can with what's my man's name?
it was Leonardo DiCaprio, and Tom Hanks. So yeah, it's a good movie, man. If you guys never seen it. And so yeah, checks were crazy back in the day, but people didn't know how even what the checkbook was for. We had the paper in the back where you could keep the copy of your check.
Mm-hmm.
And
the carbon copy print.
Yeah, so and that was back then was actually a good way to learn how to balance your checkbook,
how to budget.
Now since it's so open, people sometimes just don't know how to do it unless YouTube tutorial.
Cousin Will talking here, and that's the truth. I'm going to get to the other comments as well.
Go ahead.
The majority of the people he talks to have no idea where money comes from and how it's created. And we often talk about this, that and we're talking globally now, right? Because if you think the Americans don't understand the creation of money in the United States, Imagine other countries where your highest education across the board for the country is second, third, fourth grade. They don't know either. And it's weird because money, or I should say finance, is 90 to 95% of your entire lifestyle. And the amount of knowledge the average person has about this thing that encompasses 90 to 95 of your lifestyle, you have like 2% knowledge on. And you're just kind of like, wow, you know more about what Kim K is doing than this thing that literally rules your life
Yeah,
every day of the week, all day long. Um,
this is true.
Cousin Phantom said
What's up, Phantom?
that kids watch what you do like a hawk. He still does what his, things he learned from his mom and he's grown. Same thing, right?
Yeah.
I cook just like my grandmother taught me. I wouldn't even know how to deviate from the way she taught me how to cook. And it's not necessarily the recipes, but even how I prepare and how I prep and stuff like that.
Okay.
The way I cut things up, the way I season things, the way I clean
Yeah,
things.
because when I get in the kitchen with her, you know, and I'm pretty cold with it. So she's always got to tell me, I want to cut the onions one way. She want to tell me, no, you cut it like this. I said, what?
I get real
I
West
said, who
Indian in
you?
the
I said,
kitchen.
who you
For the
talking
most part,
to
I'm
cut onions?
American
I'm
in our
like,
lifestyle, but when I get in that kitchen, I turn into my
yeah, she always
grandmother.
trying to tell me something like I don't know how to cook.
And he cooks. He's a great cook. He's
Like,
a
yeah, I got
firefighter.
yeah. I
He's a
learned
5-star cook. When I'm pregnant, let me tell y'all, we don't have to go to nobody restaurant. When I'm pregnant, and I'm sad that I can't get pregnant
when
anymore because I
I'm
don't get
pregnant.
that
When you were pregnant,
carte
come on,
blanche.
you
That's why I said when I'm pregnant.
no, when you were pregnant.
When I'm pregnant, he don't like me saying that because I'm too old to get pregnant now. But he would just ask like, "What you got a craving for?" So, I want to go to New Orleans today, and he's gonna bring me some gumbo, some jambalaya. Which one? I'm feeling kind of Spanishy.
Yeah.
He gonna make me paella, right? Like I want some wings. And I'm telling you, he was an excellent cook. He doesn't cook as much anymore because we are training our kids to cook. So now Sean's the wing dude.
Yeah, Sean's the wing guy, and then
He's the wing master here in the house. Reginald is the resident chef. So Reginald has really
is he sous chef or he's
taken.
past that? Huh?
Nah, he's the resident
He's like
chef.
the head chef, huh?
Yeah. He's really picked up what you taught him. So Reggie
Hmm.
can't do West Indian. It's just too far beyond his scope
Yeah,
of
so we dudes
understanding.
just kind of
So his dad trained him cooking, and he's an excellent cook. He's 16.
he's 16. He's actually good.
Right.
He's actually gonna cook Texas style spicy chili tomorrow.
He's really good
And
with
I help him.
making the chili his own.
Yeah, I help him, but
But he makes spaghetti, chili, rice and peas, dirty rice, cook up rice. That West Indian meal he can make.
cook up rice.
He can make curry. He does that well. There's the specialty dishes I wouldn't even bother to teach him to do because there's a certain way you need to do it, and he's already got his dad's technique down. So I wouldn't interfere with that. But again, Reggie at 16 is a fluent cook. Sean at 23 is fluent in investing. The other two are up and coming. And again, it's more so than what we tell them as much as that is the behavior that we exhibit in the household that becomes a language to kids that they consume and then they begin to emulate.
Yes.
So if we had West Indian accents, my parents did when I was when I want to say preschooler, I had a West Indian accent because I went to school. I developed the native American tongue, right? The native New Yorker tongue and so on and so forth, right? That is children emulating their children's speech, the way they walk, the way they talk, the things they do, the way they dress. That's why West Indian children dress different than Native American children, right? When I say Native, I just mean Native Americans in the set that they're foundational, right?
Yeah, native to the land,
They're native
right?
to the land. They're foundational Black Americans. Asian children are going to dress different than
Yeah,
Mexican children,
yeah,
who are going to dress different than kids from
yeah.
Argentina and then Peru and so on and so forth.
That's cultural
So when
thing.
you understand the level of influence that you have in someone's life, in proximity of them to you, you use that, you run with it. Too often, I'm noticing that the current modern day nation builders, and I don't want to go into a rant because Simon has other important things to talk to you about. Their
Let's cover them.
interests are corrupted by distractions. So the foundational things and behaviors that maybe they would have gotten, they typically don't get.
Nah.
And because it wasn't designed like that. We can do the things that we do, and our kids can be cultivated in the way that they're cultivated because I am not distracted by looking for someone of the opposite sex. You're not
Okay.
distracted by that's not your full motivation. And the idea is, as organic beings,
Hmm.
it is our biological makeup to fixate
Oh yeah,
on finding.
a
And when I say the
mate.
species of the opposite sex, LGBT don't come for me either. I'm just meaning of finding a mate, right?
Okay. Okay.
That is your biological makeup. It is a physiological impulse for you to find this mate, for you to mate with, in order to, populate the world. That was
Yeah.
the whole point. So it wasn't designed for you to have 3, 4 children
Hmm.
and you don't have a mate,
Right.
because now you're going to be wildly distracted by that. And they'll have the women tell you like, no, 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 I ain't looking for no man. I'm focused on taking care of my children, where you're distracted by other things because you don't have the mate. And you can't have the behavior and the influence over them that you would when the household is properly balanced. And these are some of the things that a lot of people are missing. These are the points that are being overlooked
Yeah.
for convenient modern ideas and trends. And that is the influence of society, who wants to depopulate. That is the influence of supernatural beings who want to destroy you spiritually, and I can go on and on and on. Cousin Will wants to know if there's exchanges in the community. So yes, every
Well,
environment has exchanges for like Bitcoin. Um, they'll have their different cryptos and stuff like that. I'm not as familiar with them because we're not from Mexico. We're not of Mexico. We're just here. So, like Lorena Bitcoin, and there's several others in the community, especially in Mexico City. They know what wallets are used. They know what mechanisms
oh
they
yeah.
use. They know, what they do, just like we know what we do. Like, not to say that Lorena Bitcoin isn't hit to Cash App, understanding that we can kind
Yeah.
of do Bitcoin on Cash App real easy breezy, but they don't have access to it.
Have access to,
Just
and
like
that's
we
it.
don't have access to whatever their
Yeah.
easy breezy
Okay.
thing is.
That's right.
But yes, there's exchanges in every crypto community,
Hmm.
whether it's Mexico, Guatemala, Honduras. I mean, we can name all of these regions, which are becoming more, I'm not going to say crypto, I'm going to say Bitcoin intelligent,
Okay.
because Bitcoin is typically the reigning,
It's the granddaddy. It's the
right? Yeah,
grandpappy.
it's the reigning
Yeah.
king of these areas. And then they'll have room for altcoins. But like, certain communities may not have access to some of the cryptos that you guys are holding, some of the alts that you
Yeah.
guys are holding.
Yeah.
And I couldn't speak to it because, like I said, we're here, but we're not from here. We're not
Yeah.
of here.
We've understanding just through research, like she was naming some countries, mainly El Salvador, but Guatemala also has an initiative.
Costa Rica has
Costa
an
Rica,
initiative. You
and
see, Argentina's up and coming.
yeah,
And of course, they have their own exchanges, their own wallets, their own mechanisms for um, being able to purchase whatever it is they're trying to purchase, and the offerings that are available there in addition to Bitcoin. Like, they may not have access to Cardano or Solana, or,
okay,
of
yeah,
course, I think globally, I believe globally everybody has access to Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP. But when you start naming me some of those like Crow, no, you're not going to get Crow here in Mexico or probably anywhere in Central or South America. And I don't know if you can get it in the East, if you can get it in
Right.
the West. I'm not sure. I doubt it.
Yeah, so that takes a lot of research, but it's out there because
But then they have their own stuff that they,
because these people are on social media, Twitter, and other social media sites. I just say Twitter because that's what I use mostly. Facebook, I mean, they're everywhere.
right.
So if you wanted to know a situation going on in the Far East, like Kuala Lumpur, you could find out.
Yeah, you
can
can find out.
out.
And a lot of times, the best way, the most optimal way to find out is to meetups, whether it's a virtual meetup or a local meetup. Obviously, I believe that the local meetups are most optimal, but they're the hardest to do.
Yeah,
right? Kuala Lumpur and ride to where it is you're trying to go. But I'm sure they have virtual rooms, Clubhouse, and all of those other areas, Twitter and stuff like that, where you can access that information and become more knowledgeable. But yes, everywhere has exchanges for their kind of thing. And globally, exchanges are available for Bitcoin, XRP, Ethereum.
And the same rule applies. Don't leave your Bitcoin on the exchange.
Never.
No matter where you are.
Nunca. Cousin L1L says Sexy Red, oh my gosh. She has an influence over a large amount of, don't look at her ticket sales. Something's selling because they're paying her, and her influence is working because they're watching the corruption of these small young girls from toddlers on up. So Les Square. Hi, Cousin Les. Shout out to New Jersey. Cousin T. Willine.
New Jersey.
You're not late. You didn't even know we was going to be on today.
New
so
Jersey
we're glad
in the
that
house.
You're here.
New Jersey in the house.
Brick City in the house. He said, wow, I need to get some lessons from him. I barely cook. Oh, Reggie? Yeah, Reggie will school you. My wife and daughter do their thing. Reggie and I do the majority of the cooking now just because Simon, like we said, is on the mend. But Simon used to cook more at the firehouse than anything. And when he came home, he would make us some dishes, especially if he learned something new at the firehouse. But for the most part, Mama Simon is a traditional wife. Send me the email.
I got crazy recipes, and it's how firefighters eat. Like we eating hearty meals.
Yeah, we can't.
I don't eat like that anymore. Like I said, tomorrow is going to be different. But Texas chili, very heavy meals.
Yes, it is.
Lasagna, stuff like that. I had a great lasagna I used to make with.
And then I had my own. I call it loose lasagna.
Yeah.
It was very spicy, but it was really, really good. So I had my own remix to it.
Beer can chicken. Shout out to the people who familiar with beer can chicken.
That's really good.
Yeah.
If you guys have never had beer can chicken, and two, the heartier the beer, the better the recipe. If you're using like Miller High Life or those like Michelob Ultra, those light beers, that's for your cornita. That's not for your beer can chicken.
You get a lager or something, and you have a great chicken. You can make multiple chickens, and they're great. These are meals.
It's moist. It's flavorful. It is delicious.
For my people who still eat pork, pulled pork. Pulled barbecue pork. We had the ribs, everything. But I don't eat like that. I'm trying to eat a salad. Today we're gonna have fish and vegetables as a side. Some vegetables, and that's it. That's it. That's not a hearty meal. I wouldn't make a whole pan of lasagna. My wife, she used to make a great baked ziti. If we don't have access to those
ingredients, I can't find ricotta cheese here. I don't think Mexicans understand it.
Yeah, ricotta cheese is great.
Oh,
and
so
her baked ziti was so good. But we don't eat like that anymore, and
too, right? So
we have lost weight, and we're healthier as you get older.
We don't eat the crazy stuff anymore. Yeah. Like today is Saturday. Sean's at work. Reggie's had 16,000 basketball games since 7 o'clock this morning.
Yes, AAU
I don't
tournament.
even think he get home till 7 o'clock tonight. But Simon and I we're gonna have fried fish with broccoli, sweet corn, and I'm gonna saute some onions. So like very healthy meal. It'll fill you up, but it's not gonna stick to your ribs to where you have to be induced into a Thanksgiving Day coma.
Yeah.
No, Reggie's not the Steeler fan. Sean's the Steeler fan.
Reggie's still a Bengals
Yeah,
fan.
Reggie's a
He's still a
Bengals fan.
Bengals fan.
Sean's the Steelers fan. It was hell in our house for a long time, but the rivalry has changed
Yeah, because
from the Bengals
the
to the
Chiefs.
Steelers to the Chiefs
Yeah,
now.
so the Bengals and the Steelers. I mean, they still play, but
Yeah.
the real anger is with the Chiefs right
Mm-hmm.
now.
Well, that's Sean. That's the
So
older one. That's funny.
and shout out to my football fans. Football starts in I think 4 weeks.
Isn't there like a preseason game tomorrow?
Oh, yeah. There was a preseason game last night.
Oh, last night?
Yeah,
I thought
and
tomorrow.
so I mean, people don't really watch preseason. It's really more for the coaches. But once the season starts, second game of the season, Bengals play the Chiefs. So
And then every Sunday, our wing master, Sean, does some different types of wings.
yeah, he
And
does his
his
wing.
wings they're cooked all the way through, thank God. But they're still moist and tender where you can really, really enjoy it. So he does an excellent job. And the wings are gigantic, right? He cooks the whole section. He seasons it. He puts a great crust on it.
Yeah, because we get the chicken from a polleria, so we are getting fresh
It's
chicken.
fresh chicken
Fresh chicken has been killed that morning.
that morning.
Sorry to
The vegans.
sorry, and the vegans, but
Yeah,
you
but
get
it's really
you get
fresh.
these nice wings.
No
Fresh.
steroids, nothing like that. It's not even refrigerated because they're not putting anything in it in order to preserve it. So, like here, when we go get the only thing they put on ice here is fish.
Yeah.
Because obviously we're a little bit ways away from the Gulf and from the Atlantic Ocean. So they put that on. But like your beef, your pork, your chicken, it's so fresh that there's no need to put it on ice. And we do have to go to the market every single day because things are that fresh.
So one day,
Because there's no steroids in it, you're not going to put it in your freezer for a whole week
no,
and cook it next weekend. You're
no,
absolutely
they
not going to
do
do
have.
that.
Sometimes you can get like a side of beef.
Mhm.
Some people will do that and you can keep that.
Mhm.
What we will,
That's pretty fresh. Beef is pretty fresh, but the chickens and the porks, you got to be careful. You can die.
yeah,
We found that out the hard way.
we're gonna one day go to the market and go live.
Yeah, so y'all can see
And
like a
just see.
typical routine day of what we do, but it is something we have to do every day, and that's not for some people. Some people are like, let me do my $350 grocery shopping
Yeah.
today and let it last for 3, 4, 5 days. That's not how it works here.
Yeah.
And it's also why we cook so much. Let Freedom Ring. Hey, cousin.
Hey,
Thank you
what's
so
up,
much
cousin?
for joining.
What's up, cousin?
Let Freedom Ring is in the chat asking if anyone is running a Bitcoin node or if anybody has any information on that. If so, please reach out to Let Freedom Ring.
Yes, please.
Cousin Will
Please
wants to
have
know
that to our
how far
brother.
off we think from seeing, I guess, Bitcoin used in retail sales. So here is my speculation. Retail sales right now is going through a tough transition from brick and mortar to digital. And you would kind of think like in 2024, why is that a tough transition? Like, why is it so hard? And it's because a lot of the people, and you see this in America, a lot of the people who run things, who make the policies, who run these corporations, understand that the corporations you're used to seeing are run by, I think there's only like 12 entities that run every single corporation that you know, right? Every single business, right? And they have to go through these steps of permission, in a sense, in order to get that type of, yes, we'll accept Bitcoin as a form of method of payment. I don't know if you remember, because I'm not sure how old or young you are, cousin Will, but remember the internet, taking payments over the internet took a good little while. and people couldn't figure out, why is it taking so long? Why can't I just put my card number in something and get what I want? The transition. We're headed into what we call we're in the digital age, but we've come from a very physical age. So we went from Pisces, which is it's a fish, it's a very physical thing. It lives in water, it's got to search for food, to Aquarius, which can live both on land and in water, if you guys understand it. If you've ever seen the symbol of Aquarius, she is interacting with both the land and the water. But Aquarius is an air sign. It's not an earth sign. It's not a water sign. It's an air sign. Hence the digital. So it's also a form of transition. Notice that it went from land is very dense, to water, which is a bit less dense, to air, which is the lightest, right? Kind of like ice, water, and gas, right? Like that little cycle of the density between an ice cube, the water that made the ice cube, and when it evaporates.
Yeah, from solid.
Right, solid, liquid, gas.
There we go.
So think about it like that. So we're just in a transition. There are a lot of smaller businesses, Cousin Will, that absolutely accept Bitcoin as a form of payment.
Yes.
Hubby and I have been taking these supplemental vitamins from a company called Envision You, and they work great. You can pay with Bitcoin if you want to.
Yeah.
It's as easy as that. Would we do that? Hell no. I don't. We're hodlers.
You know what I'm saying? When you pay with Bitcoin, there's two different, because people always say, why would you pay with Bitcoin? Nope. But when you pay with Bitcoin, you understand that you don't take
your Bitcoin, your hodl,
right? You just transfer your money into Bitcoin
and then make the purchase.
Some people say, just to make it simple. So you're really still paying with fiat. The thing is, the person who receives the Bitcoin, if you paid them with Bitcoin and you buy some shoes, you buy some Jordans, and with Bitcoin 20,000, no sweat off your brow. You use one for one.
But that's why I don't like that. But remember the pizza guy? I don't know if you guys can remember that. The guy who bought that pizza.
Him.
Like what? 2008 or something crazy. 2012 or something. The pizza was what, $10 then? That pizza's worth
millions. So he didn't pay millions. He didn't pay millions, but
back then. But
the people he paid got millions. So
from that, so it benefits.
She doesn't like that.
I don't like that.
She don't like that unless you short Bitcoin. If you were a Bitcoin shorter and you thought that the price was going to go down, then you might pay
and get a discount, but then it go back up.
But you don't even get the discount or anything. You just see the person who you paid lose money.
Yeah, that's true.
That's all it is. True. So
that's true. I don't like that either. I don't want that for them either.
Yeah, so we try to have
Cousin Will is all for market day. We were going to do. I forgot. We went to the market. We bought the fish. I was teaching Simon how to
people talking to us.
How my grandmother taught me at 9 years old how you source a fresh fish.
Aaron bought some spoons and some forks.
I bought some spoons. He haggled the poor lady.
Yeah, I did.
He was ready to walk away, and I said, "This lady look like she might need some money to eat or something. Please, let's just buy the spoons and the forks." He said, "If I were a retail business, I would offer 40% on purchases, probably purchased with Bitcoin." That would be the smart thing to do, and it would incentivize people to do that.
People do that, and so
they ain't do that for us.
I don't try to do it anymore, but you see it in different places. Issues, right? Like Amazon or what else is Nike.com, stuff like that.
They have to go through this whole legal process to add these new methods and to do these new things. What are the implications of it? What are the risks? You got to get the actuary involved. Is there a risk to our business if we accept Bitcoin as a payment? Yeah, and you're dealing with old people who are running these corporations and making these decisions.
You got things like Amazon, and so they have vendors on there. So Amazon can't just say we
Mm-hmm.
accept Bitcoin because they got vendors that they would have to go through also and talk to the vendors
It's a lot
and
of
say,
legal.
do you
Mm-hmm.
accept Bitcoin as well? If Amazon came out and said they accept Bitcoin, that's like the first domino now we're gonna
And
see.
that would do the game
Game
theory.
theory.
That would start the
Yeah.
flame, right? McDonald's, how easy would it be? Or Starbucks, how easy would it be to get your
Yeah.
coffee
Starbucks.
with Bitcoin? But you need one of those major players: Burger King, Wendy's, Popeyes. Um,
Pies.
and that may, even something like that, as racist as this is about to sound,
Okay.
that may incentivize more Black people to look into what Bitcoin is, because maybe I can get a 40% discount on my Popeyes dinner, which is probably like $100 now for 8 piece and some sides.
I don't know.
But you understand what I'm saying? Like, it makes sense to us. Like, why can't y'all do it? But when you guys start looking at how corporations operate, there's a lot of bureaucracy,
Mm.
even in private entities. I know you guys are used to seeing bureaucracy in the federal government and stuff like that, but regular business, right, on the free market, that isn't supposed to have any type of governmental intervention involved, still deals with a lot of bureaucracy in their operations. I mean, even like the tech firm I work at, that would make all the sense in the world. Why can't you purchase your digital marketing tools with Bitcoin?
Mm.
Why can't your employees get paid in Bitcoin? Like, why can't that be an option or a benefit for the employees at this big, gigantic tech firm?
And that
You just kind of like, because of the shit you got to
the
go through in
bureaucracy.
order. And the people who are in charge are older people who simply don't understand the blasted technology.
They don't understand it, and if they don't understand the technology, um, you have to say because she's talking about older people. You could think about risk aversion.
The risk aversion,
That,
because they don't understand it, so they don't understand what risk is involved with it.
but
So,
what they do see is they see heavy volatility. Just if you just watch the news, you
mm-hmm,
know, these people are going to watch CNBC or
yeah.
stuff like that. You watch the news. Just this last week, you see boom, a drop down 10%, and
And
boom,
the
up
fear
20%.
indicator,
Man,
the
it
fear
was odd.
indicator was off the charts. We had mentioned that the last show that we had.
Yeah.
So that's really what the issue is. And again, as we begin the changing of the guard, remember, the young people, our children are born into a technological era. That's why you can see videos on your timeline of 2 year olds who can be on their mom's phone and bring up their Coco Melon and bring up their favorite little cartoons and songs. Junior, I remember the iPad just came out, probably
It
he's
just came out.
2010, probably a year
Yeah.
before he was born. He was already
2009.
playing Minecraft at 2 years old on iPad. No problem. Didn't He was building great houses. He could barely talk because they were born. Their collective consciousness is in the era of technology. The people who are running corporations, your federal government, old as hell, they were born in a very physical era. They were born in an era where you had to dial to call somebody. Your phones were wired. Um,
Yes, the federal government is old.
yeah.
People like that
You
you see.
The music wasn't digital, the movies weren't digital. You
Yes.
had to have a vehicle in order to watch or listen to something. So their collective consciousness is one that's very physical. It is obsolete.
Hmm.
Just think about it like an operating system.
Yeah.
Right now, we are in conflict with the different operating systems in this generation, and the obsolete operating system is still in charge, even though we should wipe them off the network. And I don't mean death. I'm just saying, like, y'all can't be in charge anymore. We shouldn't have an 80-year-old president. We should have a 40-something-year-old president
There we go.
who understands technology, people who run corporations, people who are in charge, the decision makers. They
Hmm.
should be, in the prime of their life, in their 40s and 50s,
So
not
let's go on
70s,
that. Let's go
80s.
on that rant right there. She is right because if you watch some of the countries around the world, and you see up and coming countries, and you see countries who are willing to take a risk,
Mm-hmm.
uh, they have younger presidents, and the younger presidents kind of vibe and connect with the younger generation. They and the younger presidents understand that the young people are the future. This teenager that's in high school is going to be a judge one day,
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. And so we have to
And the
understand that.
legal system is going to operate in a more digital manner than all of
Yeah,
the paper
and you have to
that his
understand.
father would have
You have
dealt
to
with.
understand if this is your congressman, your senator, that he's 15. You got to teach. You got to reach him,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because he's going to be running this thing in the next 20 years, because like 80-year-old president, what does that get you? What does that get you?
But all of his advisors have to be within our age range in order
Right.
to advise him median across the board. Even the median age range of the United States is way too old.
Hmm.
When you look at other countries, the median age range is much, much younger. Okay, let me say this
Tell the
right.
truth. Tell the truth.
Melanated
Thank
countries,
you. I was about to
the median
say.
ages is much,
I was
much
about to
younger.
have to interject right
Caucasian countries, the
there.
median age is much, much older, but you can start to see the decline, the crumble. You can start to see the decomposition of that nation, of that country. Let's talk about the European countries,
so
talk about the United
so
States.
tell me what that's called when you see more people being born and more people dying.
Then being born,
Yeah.
it has a name.
Yes, below replacement,
Below
y'all.
replacement.
And you're seeing that what they call in the Western world.
Mm-hmm.
Below replacement starts in the United States, Canada.
The
Um,
UK.
they call the UK, and they also call Australia.
Mm-hmm.
Below replacement. You go look at something like Australia, and you'll see the average age of something of just the people in general will be like something like 46. And then they go down and have the average age of
Like,
women,
mm-hmm.
which is, and it'll be like maybe whatever, 43, 45 or something. And maybe older because women
Mm-hmm.
live longer. It might be 48. I'm sorry. I'm just using that numbers. But the problem is in countries like Australia, and I've looked this up myself, Australia, Germany, um, was it what other place?
Well, just say Europe. Just say the
Europe.
Western world. You know, go ahead.
And when the women's average age is outside of
Bearing
childbearing
window.
years,
Mm-hmm.
you're below replacement
Yeah.
because
Two,
you can't turn over any children.
feminism has pushed
Oh
the
boy.
agenda that somehow children are these horrible burdens that will hold you back in life and
Mm,
not add anything to it.
right.
So we're also adding, bad narratives, bad rhetoric to even the women who are within the childbearing window. You're hearing more and more women, especially in the United States, of color, as well, that they're like, oh yeah, I don't want to have kids. No, I'm good on that.
Yeah, and they're following up under white women
Feminism.
as far as feminism
Mm-hmm.
goes. But when you look at the marital rates, as they say, man, it's out there. You guys know the numbers. They say 25%. So 1 in 4 Black women will marry in their lifetime. Not will marry at all. Not married and got divorced and said I did it and I tried it, but I'm single now. No, marry at all. 1 in 4 Black women will marry at all. And then the next rate is white women, which is 50%. So all that says is that white women are talking about feminism, but they're married at 100% rate over Black women.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're following up behind something and you're not, there's nothing to gain, right? We could do a whole show about that.
Mm-hmm.
I would,
Because it ties to the infrastructure, which ties to finance and so on and so
yeah.
forth. When people make decisions, they say, I just want to live my life. What I do doesn't affect you. And they don't realize that people are a network. That's why they call them social networks, right? what you do does affect the whole, right? And
Mm.
it's like a pebble
It's like a
in the
butterfly
water,
effect,
right? It is a
right?
butterfly effect. While the ripple is small
Yeah.
close to you, the further out it goes, the wider and wider and wider this ripple becomes. And that's part of the narrative that they don't get, right? That's why the narrative is you do what makes you feel good.
Right.
And it's like God don't tell you to do what you feel good. He tell you to do what's right
Mm-hmm.
because it does have a profound effect across the network. Two, I believe that when we talk about people lacking like an understanding of team skills, being a team player, not understanding how important the collective is, I think that is by design. So that when you make decisions, you make them for yourself and you don't worry about the collective. You don't worry about generational. You don't worry about, you know what I mean? You just kind of live in your own little bubble because they do want the ripple effect to be far and wide reaching, which it is every day of the week.
Hmm.
Real quick, L1L, he's Aquarius and he didn't know that. He saw water and thought it was a water sign. But
Mm-hmm.
a synopsis of it is that the Aquarian is dynamic, meaning we can function on land, water, and in the air, right? We are what you would call fluid in a sense. We're able to evolve and adapt to most situations fairly easy. But I just wanted to utilize the age that we're in, right? That's why the symbolism of it is important because if we are in the age of acquiring, in the age of knowing, the only way you can know something is if you've interacted with all of it,
Hmm.
right? That's what knowledge is. So the age of Aquarian is just one, the changing of the guard, the transitioning between a very physical situation to kind of a more fluid situation,
Right.
which is the water. We
Te-
just came from Pisces,
so
where do
tell,
fish live?
but
In the water.
tell them what we talk about the whole time, right? You came from
The land?
no, you came from physical to digital, and
Physical to digital, yes.
but that's what we talk about with Bitcoin being gold 2.0.
Gold is a very heavy, tangible item that now is right? But it's more optimal than that heavy physical item. And it's just the transition
And what is
of
it?
the
And what
movement,
are we transitioning into? We transition to digital, right?
right?
So now instead of holding, a certain amount of gold bars in some kind of armory or
Somewhere physical on land, somewhere in a
that,
physical location, you can have all of that right on your wallet,
yeah, right?
right? You can have $200 billion of gold. Imagine how much space it is going to occupy, how much manpower you need in order to transition it from one place to another, to inventory it, all of the things that were required to maintain $200 billion worth of gold. You can
And
have
then
$200 billion worth of Bitcoin on a ledger
there
that's
you
about this big.
and there you go. And just because you have that amount of gold, when you see these contracts that at the Comex that never stand for delivery, because where are you gonna put that amount of gold? You have to, if you can't keep it there on the paper contract, then you have to find your own place to keep your gold or silver. And
And that comes with a significant amount of cost and again,
yeah,
manpower.
and so that's why you see the move from a very physical,
To
like
a
she said,
very
to a very
digital.
digital. And that's why people say,
But that's here in the physical realm, right? So
yeah,
physical
and
to
the
digital,
haters always say, it's nothing but air. It's nothing.
right? Because they don't understand the transition. But
Ah,
lastly, right, because at the end of the day, the most important thing is the real world. And your real world is spiritual. It is not physical. It is not this physical realm. We're here for like this long, but your spirit's eternal. So just understanding that the
mm-hmm.
age that you live in, you are going to be required to come from a very physical form, that land, that earth. Remember, Adam, right, in the Bible, when God created Adam, his his name meant earth, right? From the earth you come, to the earth you shall return. You're transitioning from the earth, right, your physical body, to spirit, that digital. So there should be a spiritual transition and spiritual growth in this age. Why is that important to know? For those of you who sit and watch television and you're seeing all of these people getting exposed, things that we didn't know before, all the truth is coming up and coming out now, because the truth cannot be hidden. It's a spiritual concept.
Yeah.
Truth cannot be hidden, but it could be in the eras and physical ages. The truth could be hidden because it was like a tangible thing at that point,
Right.
that you could take something tangible and cover it.
Okay.
But in the spiritual age, there's no covering because everything is digital or spiritual. So the truth is going to stand. There's nothing to cover it, right? You would need something tangible to cover something spiritual, and you can't do that.
Really, yeah.
And that's why it seems like people are being exposed right now. I don't know what's going on with y'all girl, your Chucks and Pearls girl, but apparently the guy that she wanted to run for VP had a issue of stolen valor, meaning he was impersonating a reputation he did not earn, whether it's military. I don't have all of the details, but it's a big deal. He could have lied about that.
Okay.
Multiple presidential elections ago. Right. But in this age, the minute a lie flies out your mouth, your internet fact checkers are all over it. You're going to be exposed. You cannot be a celebrity and cheat on your wife, husband, or celebrity boyfriend, girlfriend. You are going to be exposed right now. But what other people are missing is that that's also going for the regular average Joe. If you are walking around with a facade while you think you're still wearing the mask, everybody, that mask is disappearing, is turning into spirit, and everybody's seeing your real face. They're seeing who you are really. They're seeing your real character. So you're not going to be able to hide behind deception in this age we live in. And you're going to see more and more of that. That when people were once easily deceived, not so easy now.
Okay,
Not so easy now. So understand the age that you live in. How does the age you live in affect you, and how could it be used for significant beneficial outcomes?
I like that. I like that a lot. I like what you just said. I like the breakdown that you had on that about people being exposed.
They're being exposed. But the everyday Joe also is going to be exposed.
And we're talking about exposed down to maybe the smallest level. And you know, embarrassing things.
Friends you thought were your real friends, they're going to say or do something that they normally wouldn't say or do, but that's what's really there. And you're going to be like,
well, they're going to behave. They're going to behave in a manner where you were like, so what was that about?
Yeah. And then you're going to have people you didn't think had your back or had your heart or had your interest, and they're going to wow you. Because again, that's going to be exposed as well.
You get that. You get that a lot. Everybody and people gravitate towards her.
Oh.
They gravitate towards her, and
I get to be everybody's mom.
Yeah, she has a.
I be telling people now, like, I'm Sean's mom, I'm Reggie's mom, I'm Tino's mom, I'm Junior's mom. I'm not your mom.
Yeah.
I'm not your.
She got mom energy. Where
I got mom energy.
People want to tell her their problems and get advice and how should I help. And it's you know, that's a great energy to have. That speaks a lot for who she is. She will be eventually an elder in the community, you know, that people can go to and receive information. You know, they can receive information. Now, we just, like they say, start your walk of wisdom at 40. That's when it starts. That's what they say back.
But the Bible always says, too, let any man who is seeking wisdom ask God. Start there. Yeah. But just understand that you live in an age now where the scammers, you're catching quicker onto the scammers than going through these painful, long journey experiences only to find out.
Numbnuts from FTX would have been running for a long time.
Back in the day, like the Ponzi guy, what was his name? name? I can't remember.
Oh, Bernie Madoff.
Bernie Madoff, right? He went for a long time. He had a great, fantastic run. Sam Bankman Fried got caught a lot sooner because of, again, the era that we're transitioning to. That's why you're seeing the corruption in the government. You're seeing this. We didn't know that. The news about this is coming out. And just understand the age that you're living in. We are transitioning from a very physical age to a very spiritual age. And you're going to start to see more spiritual things. Those of you who are like, oh, I don't believe in that spiritual mumbo jumbo, just wait and just watch. Right? Your eyes are going to be able to see wavelengths that you couldn't see in a spiritual age. Them scales are coming off of your eyes, they're coming off of your ears, they're coming off of your nose, they're coming off of your mouth, and you are going to start to have more spiritual experiences. You're going to get to a point, hopefully, if you're in tune with yourself, where before that person even lies to you, you're going to detect it.
That's interesting.
Right? Because like I said, this is the age of truth now. And that's why all that shit is coming out and coming up and bubbling forward and stuff like that. Bitcoin is a form of truth, and it is forcing a change in our monetary policy.
And where is the truth at? Just what she said, monetary policy. Because the monetary policy is bullshit.
Yes. It's forcing a change. It's forcing the change. And they're fighting every step of the way to try to like slow this train down.
It's forcing a change of a bullshit policy. I had other stories about the IMF and some things that were going on. And when, we didn't want to keep you too long on a Saturday, but I read those stories another day. They're not time sensitive, but this is what's going on in the government, globally, things like that. And you want to always know that. But I tell you what, knowing that BlackRock was the wall is good to know, right? That's good to know in your investment strategy that you have a big, I don't know, you have a big player who is pushing in your direction and in your favor in the age of truth. And so, they're making it easy for you. And they're making it easy. There's all these other things. Oh, it could do this, it could do that. They're making it easy for you guys. They're making it easy. They're not going to let it drop because then they have interest, they have skin in the game. And so when I first started investing back in the late 90s, things were comparatively, and looking back, things would have been so hard. They were so hard, I should say. Okay, if I get that right. They were so hard compared to now, like this is easy breezy. It's almost like if you have low time preference, this is easy breezy. If you have high time preference and you're trying to bounce in and out and do all that trading, I say, I'm good luck, but they got numbers on it about over 90% of people failing trying to trade and be investors. Listen, people go to school, they get master's degrees in economics, finance, they get PhDs in these things too as well. So go work on Wall Street. To be a Wall Street trader for Goldman Sachs, to be an official financial advisor who can give financial advice for maybe who else? Who you think?
Charles Schwab
or something like that, and Merrill Lynch. And these are the people who know how to trade for real. And they don't even know how to trade because they make bad trades. But they have the ability to do little things to manipulate. We don't. You make a bad trade, you lose your money. But they have, they can manipulate stuff around and make themselves look like good traders, but they're not, because they come out and they say, "Oh, okay, so you're a hedge fund manager, and what was your return this year?" And a lot of times these guys are in a negative. You're a top hedge fund manager at Merrill Lynch or Goldman Sachs, and you have a negative in return, when you go over, and people will always say an index fund in the S&P 500, you would make 24%, right? And this is how simple it is. This is how simple it is. And you even seen a while back, ARK Investments, Kathy Fund, she is the CEO, but she also was a hedge fund manager. And she was the head hedge fund manager. And she had to step down from that role because she over invested in Tesla. And then Tesla had, but when you over invest, you have to have risk aversion. And she rolled the dice with Tesla, and Tesla in that time window, went down very low. So she, the board made her step down.
It's unfortunate, but she gonna
She's still the
overinvest in Bitcoin now, though.
Yeah, she's still the CEO, and I don't even know how that works. How you still the CEO? You was the head manager.
I mean, she's still excellent at what she does. Don't get me wrong.
But I mean, she's still the CEO of the company.
So who the person that they filled her in are they doing better? Do we know?
Well, because they were over investing in Tesla, and Tesla's now doing better.
Oh Lord!
So they're doing better, kind of
in general,
but not really because they did anything. If they'd have gave her time, she could have, bounced back from the Tesla fiasco. And but so
or be balanced it with Bitcoin.
Yeah, I don't know, because I don't know why she really is into Tesla's technology and what they're going to be doing in the future. She really believes in Elon Musk, so maybe she invested a little bit, with her heart,
with emotion. You're not supposed to do that.
You're not supposed to do that.
Cousin Will said that cousin Jari,
okay,
says let Simon talk more. So I'm gonna shut up.
Let Simon talk more. So,
I talk too much. I'm sorry.
All right. And then,
tell cousin Jari, if I'm saying his name right, I'm sorry.
Well, I thought I talked a lot at the beginning.
Yeah, he wasn't there for all of that talking in the beginning.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So even she can be removed, and she is the CEO of a Fortune 500 company. So the people who think they can just trade, come on, dog. You need. I mean, I don't know. I'm not saying you got to go to college, but you really need to know these things, man. You really need to know a lot of stuff. I hear a lot of people who are trading who don't know some of the basics. One of the big things is they don't know the terminology, the nomenclature. And I'm like, if you don't even know what this is, why are you trading your money? You don't understand this, you don't understand that. And, it takes a long time to become a really, really good trader if you're going to be one. And it takes some hard losses for you to learn. And they'll tell stories. People will tell stories. You see people who've come off Wall Street, like Max Kaiser, who could tell you stories from the 80s. And, he went through the Black Monday of 1987, if you're familiar with that, in Ronald Reagan's presidency. And he can tell you about how that was a mess. You can tell people like Ralph Howe, who used to be.
Now, was that worse than the 2008 crash?
No.
2008 crash was way worse, or kind of worse?
I don't know. It was worse. It was, I don't know, way worse. But
as far as you can tell, outside of the Great Depression,
okay,
would the 2008 be like number 2?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so. And by numbers, it might be number 1. You guys.
Worse than the Great Depression?
Yeah, because the Great Depression, the stock market wasn't
as
robust.
Yes, that makes sense.
And so, and what they did is they joined World War II, which was, well, they didn't join it. They were actually pulled into it. But once the war was over, you remember everybody went, all the men went, and then you had the Rosie the Riveter, where the women were doing all the stuff that the men were doing. But what you had were those war bonds.
Do
Remember
you
them?
think that that jumped off
Feminism.
feminism?
I do.
Like that was the opportunity to
Because guys were gone. They were gone. And not only were they gone, it was, I'm saying 50-50 if your husband was coming home
back, yes.
back then.
Maybe even higher than that.
Yeah, like when it's not like now, and no disrespect to, all my servicemen and women out there, but when you went to World War II, you didn't know if he was coming home.
Right.
And so when you seen your wife and you kissed her and said you was gonna be gone for this amount of time, that might have been the last time she ever seen you and you ever seen her.
Jesus.
And a lot of people did not come home. A lot of people did not come home. And the people who did come home, right, the women had been holding down the fort while they were not nothing again. They weren't at home to hold down the fort. They were holding down the fort over there. And
But like the rise of the independent woman.
yeah, but they still were held down in the 50s. But 50s, when people, and I'm gonna say it again, y'all, when you have this Trumpers and these red hats and it says "Make America Great Again," it's talking about the late 40s, but the 1950s. The June Cleaver with a dress and an apron. That's how your wife was, or something like stuff like that, right? And
You had a house,
life was
garage.
good. You always have these. Aaron put me on to it. These parties with the dresses. What's the dress called? Polka dots. It's got a poodle on. Is it a poodle dress?
Yes, but I'm gonna tell you the name of the party.
Yeah. So they always had that. You ever notice people always have 50 parties? They don't have 60s parties. They don't have 40s. Don't have a 40s party.
But in the 50s, they used to have these parties where you do the jitterbug and stuff. They had a name for it, but it was like a golden decade.
Yeah, it's
for
golden.
White people, not for us, y'all.
Right, and we went over this in the episode a long time ago. We went over this. It's called the fourth turning, and the turnings line up with the things that go on in our physical world.
Yes.
And so, if you look at the turnings, the 50s, that was the first turning, which is a time of celebration and stuff like that.
Party.
And that's why making America great again isn't possible because of the turnings. If you stick around for the turnings, I think America will be great again later in the 20s.
But not with the reign and the influence that dog is kind of like Rome. Now, people go to Rome, tourism and this and that. Now, granted, Rome still has a very significant influence in the free world.
Yes, it does.
Right? So it's still the dog having its day, but the physical environment is not as reputable as like America being a superpower. America is going to have this a similar kind of where their influence, right? Whether it's music, movies, you can see the influence we have all over the world.
Yeah.
But the place itself won't have that influence over other countries and stuff like that.
Like she said, just to make it plain and clear, the saying was the sun never set on the Roman Empire or something like that.
Started there. Remember, the sun never set on the Persian Empire.
Yeah,
then the sun never set on the British Empire. America has its own empire in a sense when you look at it, and America is still part of the British Empire. Whatever, we'll talk about that another day. But like the influence will still be there, but you won't have the ability to bully like you did once upon a time.
Yeah, and
you may even have to capitulate.
Yeah, and that's why I told people who were really serious about moving abroad to move abroad while you still had access to the world reserve currency, while your currency was stronger against a lot of these, if not all of these other currencies, right? You move to Mexico. while the peso is down and the dollar is up, so that you get the arbitrage. Use the US dollar, because the US dollar is power. The United States uses it all the time. Just because you don't get the money that in the capital of the United States does, you can use your US dollar. You can go to another country, be paid in dollars, which is the world reserve currency, and arbitrage that against a weaker currency.
Which allows you to utilize your currency as a stronger tool of investment for yourself.
Yeah.
It just makes more room, right? You're basically living at a discount.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We tell you guys all the time we have a beautiful 6-bedroom home.
Yeah,
The
man.
rooms are large. We have 3 living rooms, full basement,
Yeah.
8 bathrooms, 2, 3,
We
4
got
acres of
we got
land.
4 stories and stuff, and so we're up in the bedroom
Right?
right now on the 4th floor.
It
But
comes with a 2018 Pathfinder, and we pay about 1650. Right, when the peso's down the lowest, we'll pay about $1,700 a month.
when it's up the highest,
But when it's up highest, I'm paying about $1,200 a month.
and so what that
And you
is,
can't even get a 1-bedroom.
yeah, and that's
United States
arbitrage
for
off because we're not citizens, so we can't pay light bills, water bills, and stuff
that
like
includes
that.
everything.
So that has to be paid, and it's a smooth arbitrage if you're just looking to stop paying exorbitant stop paying exorbitant prices for like rent and things like that. Cats is running, they running the price up on you every time somebody.
But even medical, right? Medical is one of the things that's wiping people out as well.
Yeah.
Y'all know I have seizures, and my seizure medication is like $2.13.
It's crazy in the United States
for a 30-day supply.
Yeah.
He was in the ICU. I think we paid like $8,000 to $9,000 total.
That's a lot, but I needed a lot.
But if he went to the United States, ICU would have been a $2 million total. And I don't know how much insurance would have covered, and I still would have to come out of pocket hella.
Yeah, and
especially with all of your medication prescriptions.
Yeah, and a lot of people in the United States, I don't want to say go broke, but as they get older,
they get wiped out.
They get wiped out by health issues.
Yes, they get wiped out.
And so, and that's unfortunate because you get to close to the end, and then you're getting wiped out. And
that's another reason why we talk about aggressively investing, because when you're young, you don't think about getting sick and all of the things that it entails, because it's an experience you never had. Yeah. But if you're already behind because you're not going to have access to Social Security, you're already behind because whatever you've amassed, by the time you get there, inflation would have, did y'all see that y'all president wrote another $175 billion check to Israel and Ukraine and all of these other places the other day, right? And we have to pay for all of that. We don't have to pay for it today. 10, 12 years from now, that bill gonna come due, right? So it's shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. And then you don't consider what's healthcare gonna look like 10, 12 years from now, 20, 25 years from now, depending on how old you are. How much healthcare am I gonna need?
And so that's why we do stress being a healthy lifestyle. Anything I was gonna say anything that's in your control, right? Eating healthy, staying at a healthy weight, other things, making sure, make sure that you stay tight on those, because certain things if you pop up with something, you can't. It's nothing you could do about it, right? But at least take care of the part that you can control.
But baby, we take for granted that they have fake food in the United States.
Yeah.
Y'all see them bananas, them watermelons, people are going like this. It's like a toy almost.
Yeah, so I mean,
none of their stuff has seeds in it.
You guys could look into it's hard. It's hard.
It's
It's
very
hard.
difficult.
It's hard. We had to move to another country for a multitude of reasons.
Hmm.
Mainly I wanted to have my sons have a different type of upbringing than the normal upbringing in the United States. Sons going to really high school is where everything gets messed up, right? And so I'm trying to get them out of the high school, out of this, away.
Driving in Florida
Yeah, just
as a
so
black man, nice car.
yeah, so we wanted to really get them out of there and have a different experience, and they have, and they flourished. We moved for health reasons. Uh, Her and I are healthier than ever.
Not dieting, just eating
Yeah,
more
yeah,
natural
yeah.
foods.
Like I said, my sickness was a fluke because I got an infection from salmonella.
Hmm.
So, but I'm a healthy black man.
Hmm.
When they kick the tires, my blood pressure's good, my cholesterol's good, blood sugar's good.
Good. Hmm.
So all the things that ail black men at my age, my weight is I'm under my BMI. All this stuff that black men have problems with in
That
their
helped
40s and
save his
50s.
life.
Uh, I don't have so.
That is what helped save your
Yeah,
life.
that helps save my
Because if
life.
he'd have had comorbidities on top of what happened to
Yeah,
him,
yeah. I don't know
it
if
would have been a wrap.
it would have. Oh, come on! But I would have been in more trouble. In more trouble. Come on now.
That's why COVID was an issue, because people had so many comorbidities
Yeah, it was taking cats out.
that the infection, you had a massive infection that shut your liver and your kidneys down, and it was trying to get to the heart, but because you were relatively healthy and
Mm.
you didn't have weight issues, you didn't have high blood pressure, high blood sugar,
Mm.
all of the comorbidities that are complexities in an already bad
Yeah,
situation, and it's chronic, right? So those things are chronic. They've been eating and breaking you down all along the way. You didn't have any of those.
yeah. I didn't have that, so that worked in my favor. So, like I said, the things you can control, take control of.
Right? We only have to fight that one fire.
Yeah.
We didn't have to fight the fire of now. Now we got to figure out his blood pressure. Now we got to figure out his sugar. We're having a hard time balancing the sugar because we got to give him all
Blood
of this
pressure.
stuff and it's running the sugar
My
up.
blood pressure was going the wrong way, but
Yeah, it was going the wrong. But if
that's
it went
all right.
up, you'd have advantage.
Yeah, my
So, like
going the
those
wrong way.
little things are issues that come up that you don't fathom, you
Yeah,
don't think about. And the
and
average person doesn't know
yeah,
those things to the
and
level that we
that's the
understand
thing.
it.
You will see a lot more people uh, having this issue where they blow out some of their savings and things
Healthcare.
like that through healthcare. And I don't know if healthcare is getting better or worse in the
It's
United
getting
States,
worse.
but
I told you that you told me that our medical went up over 12%.
yeah,
And my girlfriends are complaining that, yeah, it went up over 12% and we're paying more, but we're getting less.
yes, yes, and ask when somebody rolls out the CPI, is their healthcare added in there? Is that part of one of the metrics they
It's
use
crazy.
to find CPI? And CPI is crazy. She already You already know they're not using the right metrics of the people, of the everyday people. They don't use milk,
But you see
eggs, and
how
stuff like that.
fast it's being exposed?
Yeah,
Whereas 10 years from now, that would have worked.
yeah, and so everybody knows that inflation is about 20%. Um, it just is. It's 20%, and you go to work, you get a raise if you do 2-3%,
If at
uh,
all.
if at all, and you're falling behind. You're falling behind inflation. Whatever your salary may be, it doesn't spend as well as it did last year and or the year before. So,
And that's another truth in Bitcoin, right? Because Bitcoin organically,
mm,
it maintains and increases the purchasing power,
hmm
which money is supposed to do. That's what gold did back in the day. And for those of you, we talk about it all the time, the Creature of Jekyll Island is
mm,
going to tell you the story about how your average person, and we're talking about Black people in the Reconstruction era. But so, y'all know after slavery, all of the skilled workers were Black because of slavery. So during the what's it called when they got the emancipation,
Yeah.
during their
Okay. So you
emancipation, the
back
next
there.
era is Reconstruction now,
Reconstruction.
right? We're rebuilding. If all of the skilled labor are Black people, what's happening? Now you have to pay them for their skills, right? And even then they weren't paying them what they were worth. Obviously, if you had a Black mason and a white mason, you gonna pay the white mason his value. You Black mason, like, I'm gonna pay you pennies on the dollar.
Mm-hmm.
Even with that kind of environment, with that kind of mindset, because gold accounted for every dollar on the market, for every penny on the market, every nickel on the market, Black people were able to save and didn't need a loan.
Mm-hmm.
They were just able to use their profits in order to do whatever it was they needed to do to expand on their business, expand on their house. They were doing really well. And you'll start to see the different cities that were powerhouse cities because they had all the money.
Yeah.
Right next door was the white city that had to hire them to do everything. And they were starting to decline. And then you start to see the floodings of the cities, the bombings, the lynchings, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
But I said all of that to basically get to the point where the diabolical government, right? You just have a few people in the government when they picked up on because we're segregated. So how do we get our hands on their money?
Yeah.
And they started to force situations to force you into turning your money in to get a loan, to pay the loan back at interest, and so on and so forth. They didn't need loans. Right. So they came up with this psychological marketing scheme. You'll see it on the Creature of Jekyll Island in order to entice these Black people who were holding the capital to start being interested in loans. We'll give you double the money. Right. You only need this and you have it, but you don't want to dig into your savings. You want to hold on to that and we can give it to you now where you can pay us back in interest. They had their
Yeah.
psychological means of messing around with their mind in order to have access to their funds. But because gold accounted for every single dollar, organically you were able to save, maintain, and increase your purchasing power, which is what your savings were.
Yeah. And that's why I say never keep any money in the savings. Like, don't have a savings account with $500 in it. You got to put that somewhere where eventually it'll go up. It'll go up. It'll go up, right?
It'll increase. And
It'll.
that's why we always talk about utilizing our precious metals account as a high yield checking account, right? When we have extra money, Simon likes to put extra money into places that he knows when I go back to touch it, or if I have to go back to touch it, we try not to touch it because we typically don't need it. But if I have to go back to touch it, there's going to be more there than what I left.
Yeah, and that's just a very simplistic way. We're not talking, we're not financial advisors. I said that before. That's a very simplistic way that we do things, and because here's the funny part. You got to learn a lot about finance and economics,
Mm-hmm.
macro, micro, uh, to the point where you could become close. You might be able to master it, and if you do master it, the funny thing is, once you master it, you realize that it's really easy.
Oh,
It's so,
it seems
like
okay. I
that.
got you. It seems complex, but once you start digging into it, it starts to make
It's
sense.
like
And it does. It really
and
does.
like you said, that's a simplistic way to have a high yield checking account.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Right,
Bitcoin,
but
high yield checking
but but
account.
what happens? You had to go through all the education of the importance of silver or gold. How it goes back all these years and it's been money. You had to go through all this education just to understand that, oh, I can use this. So you got to get the education. It comes back, it's simplistic. That's why you see some of these guys who caught it. like Raoul Powell, somebody like that, who caught it, worked for Goldman Sachs, did everything he needed, even went to certain schools or went to Ivy League school, and then they catch it, and he puts all his money in Bitcoin, which any financial investor would tell you, hey, that's a bad idea to put all your money in
In
one
one
place.
basket.
And then they're like, fine, but this thing goes up, boom, 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 boom. And that's why they got the most money, because they're doing things that you were taught not to
Not
do.
to do under those conditions.
Yeah.
But like I said, when he got sick and we had to pay that hospital bill, I didn't have to beg anybody for any money. I didn't have to take out a loan. I didn't have to utilize a credit card. We have zero credit card debt because we don't use credit cards. I was able to tap into exactly what I needed in this unforeseen, unfortunate emergency,
Yeah.
and have the amount then some, right? Understanding that when it's time to pay ourselves back,
Just
no
keep,
big deal. It's
yeah.
just, it's going to
We
eventually
keep
grow
we
like
keep
it's
it
been
rolling. We
growing.
keep it rolling,
And I'm
man.
sure whatever I took out, I wish we could sit down and do the math. It'd be too tedious. How much of what we had to peel off did we actually put in? And I bet you it's a fraction. I bet you it's
Yeah.
a fraction. I bet you we put in like $1,000 and just over time. And
No,
we've had our Bitcoin for so long.
no, it was a good amount of money put in there, and it's a good amount of money taken out of there, but not
But I'm
really
talking about the
nothing.
profit on top of.
Yeah, yeah, you would have to do tedious math.
It would be
on
tedious.
it.
That's why I say, but I bet
But
you
knowing
the
that
principal was probably.
yeah, knowing that the principal was, and
And
you
you're
taking
just
off
like,
the,
wow.
and it's just a matter of somebody else would have taken out that money and did something,
Right.
had a good
Right.
time with it. So we didn't want to keep you too long.
We
We've been
kept you too
here.
long. It's 2 hours.
Yeah.
But real quick, Cousin Jake made a comment
Yeah, yeah,
because
yeah.
you were talking to me about something about it yesterday or the day before, and I just wanted
Okay.
to bring it up. So Cousin Jake said, "Make America great again by the privatizing." Thank you.
Okay.
Privatizing of money again. Stop FDIC and let banks fail if they're misbehaving. You were talking to me
I got an
about
article about that.
it was the fractional reserve lending has gotten so bad.
Yeah, that was one of my articles. Damn it. I have to come with it again, but yeah,
In a
yeah,
nutshell.
yeah. You make these large banks fail. You should stop bailing them out. He's right. And
But they bail the bank out, but the people who lose their money, they don't get bailed out.
No, not at all.
Because people don't understand that the FDIC don't pay everybody back. Right? If you had $72 in there, you ain't gonna get that $72 back. They're gonna take care of the big dogs first.
That's what they do. And so he's right. As that comment is right and exact. There's a couple other comments. That's just great show.
Cousin Will said, "Great show."
Thank you, sir.
Once I shut up, Cousin Will, I'm sure the show got better. Cousin Jake talked about how 2008 changed the financial system and the Great Depression did too. To him, they're equal in his eyes due to quantitative easing and no gold standard, respectively.
Okay.
Cousin Will was laughing at me when I told you I was talking too much. Cousin T also made a point about Tesla being super valued. It's not a car company, it's an AI company.
Yeah.
It's a welfare company.
Yeah. Tell them about it.
Right? All of their profits, all of the stuff that they make, they get from the United States government and the credits.
Energy credits.
And the energy credits. So that is propping up their system, their finances and everything so high. You should be propped up too if the government was supplementing you with those credits. You know who else gets those credits? Not energy credits, but the subsidizing Walmart. That's why Walmart is one of the biggest retail corporations. Like, why is it bigger than freaking Target? Why is it bigger than like much nicer?
You go. I had a map. It might be a little old, maybe a couple years old. I had a map of the United States of every state, and it said the largest employer in each state. And I counted 26 states. Walmart is the largest employer. 26 states, over half of the United States of America. Walmart employs the most people. This is outside of government and healthcare.
Mhm.
So So Walmart is the largest employer. That's crazy.
And it's just because they get the subsidization out of on the back end. It also is the reason why items at Walmart are far cheaper than
And
per se items at Target, Super Target, which we love. We love Target, right? We don't have Target outside the United States. And Target ain't even in some states in the United States.
I tell you, I mean,
But notice because of that subsidization, that's why you have the environment at Walmart.
Yeah, my
Now I will tell y'all this: in overseas, I'm sorry, baby.
Yeah.
Overseas, Walmart is actually like a Target. It's very clean. It is where the people who have money shop.
But
it's a very different experience.
it's also a real job for the people who work there. You know, you come over here in some of these small cities, and there's a lot of small cities in Mexico. There's Mexico City, then there's tourist areas, and then the rest of Mexico is
Pueblos.
almost third world country. And if you find yourself in one of these places and you look around, there's nowhere to work, right? And the people who work at a Walmart have a good job, right?
They got their nose up.
They must have had some education over sixth grade or something crazy, and they get the job, right? Because you find everybody else out. I'm talking about, man, out in the street, washing cars, doing all this stuff in the parking lot, trying to sell you windshield wipers. They're not able to get, I guess, a quote unquote corporate job because they don't have the education. And when I say education, I'm talking about cats is getting out of school second, third grade.
Yeah, that's bad.
And so
you can be fluent in Spanish and still not understand
somebody who graduated from high school is head and shoulders above anyway, so they can get that job at Walmart. And then the manager is manager at Walmart, so you got a really, really good job. And you see these people, man, and then there's a big chasm between them. And like I said, I don't think here in these little pueblos, if you will, there is a middle class. I don't see a middle class.
No, it's you're poor or you got money. It's one or the other.
Yeah,
but Walmart, the experience outside of the United States is like Target. It's very clean. It's very organized. The people are very nice. They're friendly. All of the items that you're looking for there, the items are typically, to me, for the most part, much better quality. Now, am I talking about great value? No. But the other items that they offer are better quality and stuff like that. So it'll blow your mind how, like, really?
Yeah, man. So,
like a holiday or a big event in your life is coming up. We're going to go to Walmart and, we're going to do Thanksgiving. We're going to go to Walmart for Thanksgiving. We're going to go to Walmart for Christmas dinner and stuff like that. Where in America, you're like, no, you're not. You're going to go to Publix. Or Kroger. What are you doing?
So the country is, I mean, there's first world properties of Mexico.
Yeah.
Right? Their trade agreement with the United States, right? So there's that. We talk about it, the silver mines out west. I think in Dorado. Is it Dorado?
I think it's Dorado.
It's Dorado. So you got silver mines out there. So you do have large. And I say large enterprise going on here, as far as that, and their top. I thought they were 13 in GDP now, so they're climbing. They're climbing, and it's a really big country with a lot of people, and it also has non-below replacement. So what that means is more people are being born that are dying. So it could be first world all the way around, but what happens is it's just first world in pockets.
Yeah.
It's first world in Mexico City.
And Toluca.
Guadalajara, maybe Monterrey, places
tourist
like that.
Areas, Cancun.
Yeah, but if you just get caught stuck in the middle of Mexico, nowhere, It's not first world, right? It's not first world. There's cows and horses just walking down the street.
Chickens crossing the street.
Yeah, so people out here live a different life and actually always ask us and kind of look at us like, why would you want to live here? And they don't even understand the reverse. Like, man, you get that hustle and bustle. It's after a while it wears you down. Wears you down. You want to have a house. Everybody always talk about buying a house and getting some land, but for the most part, everybody just lives in a normal neighborhood. Boom, your house is here. Somebody's house is right next to you. Somebody's house is right next
My
to you.
girlfriend
Somebody's
told
house
me
across the street.
she bought a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house. Right? She lives in California. I told you this. And she said at the closing, when her and her husband went to sign, it was $870,000 house.
So you're not getting much for value in the United States. When you come out here, you can just get land with a cow walking around and some sheep. And it's like the difference, because we're tired of the hustle and bustle and we want to come out here where it's quiet. And
they're sick of the quiet.
They're sick of the quiet, I suppose.
Yeah.
And they want to go somewhere where it's hustle and bustle and but that's I mean, I was sick of the hustle and bustle, but I was really didn't want my kids to get taken down by it. So now they have great lifestyles, and but did I do them wrong? Because if they got to get back over there and do the hustle and bustle, I don't know if they would stand up as well, right? Because the people over there already know. But they don't ever have to, right?
No.
They don't ever have to, and But yeah, people look at you and say, "Man, why are you here?" And I'm like, "Man, why not?" Because you go back over there, you want to walk around, and they say black people, over 80% of black people live in and or around 10 major cities. And that's where everybody lives. That's where you see all the violence. You don't see it in the middle of nowhere. You don't see it even.
They got their own struggle though. The middle of nowhere got
they got their own struggle, but it's not violent. It's not, Chicago and some of these cities, man, Milwaukee. There's a study that says Milwaukee it's the worst city in America for a black man to live in. Using incarceration rates, and people wouldn't know that about Milwaukee. You would think that was just a little city that's out. St. Louis. Shout out to my homie in the chat.
Cousin T.
But St. Louis, man, Ferguson has a lot of problems from what I read. Correct me if I'm wrong, Cousin T, on if I'm saying something wrong about your city. I came from Cincinnati. A lot of violence. People wouldn't even know. Like, Cincinnati's violent. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And play Indianapolis, little places, Omaha, these little places, these little pockets.
Them youngins will shoot your face off.
And yeah, you like these. It's very, very violent. And so, but I'm sorry. I guess I got to get out of here. Let's go ahead and
my fish is seasoning. It's time for me to cook. But we love y'all, and we are going to do our best to try to adhere to the schedule. But just be patient with us.
Yes, indeed. We do love y'all, and we love talking to you guys. Send any emails or something if you want to talk. You want to talk personally, one-on-one.
He been cooped up, y'all. He want to talk to somebody other than his wife. Telling him what to eat, what to drink. This is what we need to do next. You gotta take your vitamins. He want to have a different conversation. So y'all, shout out to you. Yeah. Check on your homies, right? So, just talk to him.
Yeah, check on me, man. Cause we could just talk about sports and stuff.
I'm about to go make him a nutritious meal now, but we love y'all, and hopefully Monday. Hopefully.